The planet Cryovast was a frozen wasteland. Endless fields of ice stretched as far as the eye could see, and jagged mountains pierced the gray skies like frozen teeth. The winds howled constantly, whipping snow and frost into blinding storms that could tear the skin from a human face in minutes. It was a place that tested every ounce of endurance a human could possess, and yet, for decades, humans had made it home. Commander Elias Grant stood on the observation deck of Colony Base 9, staring out at the gray horizon. His breath steamed in the cold air as he adjusted the heavy layers of his survival suit. He had led this colony for nearly 10 years, and every year brought new challenges. But now, for the first time, he felt the cold dread of hopelessness creeping into his chest. Reports had been coming in all day. The predators were returning. Massive alien beasts with tough exoskeletons and glowing red eyes that hunted in packs had been spotted near the outer settlements. They were faster than anything the colony's defenses could handle, and far more intelligent than simple beasts. These were hunters. They were not just a threat, they were a warning. "We can't hold them off much longer," said Lieutenant Mara Jensen, her voice tense over the comm link. She was pacing in the command room, her fingers tapping nervously on the console. "Even with the perimeter shields at full power, they're learning our patterns. Every attack is sharper than the last." Elias rubbed his face. He had hoped that the defenses would buy them enough time to find a solution, but now he realized there might not be one. Cryovast was isolated. The colony had limited supplies, limited manpower, and no immediate allies. No one knew that humans were here, and if they did, most would dismiss the colony as insignificant. He sighed and turned to the comms officer. "Send the signal." "What signal?" the officer asked, startled. "The one we've been saving for this moment, the one the council never approved." Elias's voice was low but steady, a plea for help. "To anyone who might hear us." The officer hesitated. "Commander, you know what this means. It's risky. We don't even know if anyone is listening, and if the wrong species hears it." Elias nodded. "I know, but we have no choice. Our people are dying. We either reach someone, or we die here." A deep silence filled the command room as the crew prepared the ancient quantum transmitter. The device was experimental, never tested in real combat. It could send a signal faster than light across vast distances, but the chances of it being received or answered were slim. Still, it was the colony's last hope. Activating in 3, 2, 1. The console beeped. A pulse of energy shot from the transmitter, traveling across the cold void of space, carrying humanity's desperate call for help. Elias watched the readouts anxiously. Every second that passed felt like a year. He knew that this signal could change nothing or everything. Far across the galaxy, countless civilizations went about their lives, many too busy with wars, politics, or survival to notice a small, insignificant human colony. Most would have ignored the signal. Most did, but some did not. In the edge of known space, aboard a massive Zytherian observation vessel, the signal arrived. The Zytherians were a species known for their cold logic, immense technology, and centuries of galactic experience. They rarely interfered with younger civilizations. They calculated, observed, and only acted when it suited their interests. Yet the signal intrigued them. It was not just the content, a colony under attack, but the tone. There was desperation, yes, but there was also hope, courage, and a stubborn refusal to give in. Such qualities were rare even among older species. The Zytherian commander tilted her head, analyzing the data. "Why does this species persist, even when faced with near-certain destruction?" she asked, her voice calm but curious.
"They are
resilient, interesting." Her officers exchanged glances. "Intervention is unusual," one said. "Our mandate is observation. This species is insignificant. Why act?" "Because they dare to hope," the commander replied. "There is potential here. Perhaps we should see it firsthand." Back on Cryovast, the colony's situation worsened. Snowstorms lashed against the reinforced walls, making it difficult for patrols to scout the perimeter. Supplies were running low. Morale was fragile. Mothers whispered to children about the dangers outside. Soldiers practiced drills, their faces pale and tense. Every shadow seemed to hide death. Elias walked through the mess hall, nodding to his weary crew. "We're doing everything we can. Stay alert, stay calm, help may already be on its way." A young technician, barely 17, looked up at him with wide eyes. "Do you really think someone will answer, sir?" Elias smiled faintly, though his eyes betrayed his fear. I don't know, but if we don't try, we're already lost. That night, the auroras of Cryovast painted the skies in ghostly greens and blues. The humans huddled in their quarters, some praying, some planning, all waiting. Outside, the alien predators prowled, their glowing eyes scanning the icy plains for weakness. Hours passed. Days passed. The signal traveled across light years of empty space, passing by civilizations that never noticed. The humans fought off minor predator incursions, patching defenses, tending to the wounded, trying to survive. And then, finally, a ripple in the void responded. A transmission arrived, not hostile, not distant, but immediate and direct. It was unlike any humans had ever received. The message carried the resonance of power, of intelligence far beyond anything they had seen. It was clear, calm, and precise. Human Colony Cryovast 9, the voice said. We have received your plea. We will come. The command room went silent. The crew stared at the console in disbelief. Eyes met Elias's. Did they just say they're coming? Mara whispered. Elias's heart pounded. Yes, they are coming. We are not alone. Even as relief washed over him, he knew the moment was just the beginning. Whoever was coming would be unlike anything humans had faced. Their intentions, their methods, even their morality could be beyond human comprehension. And yet, the hope that had guided humanity through millennia of hardship burned brighter than ever. Out in the frozen darkness, the alien predators paused. Their instincts sensed a shift in the air, a power unlike anything they had encountered. Somewhere far beyond the stars, a force was moving toward Cryovast, drawn by humanity's courage, ingenuity, and unyielding will to survive. And so, on a small icy planet at the edge of the galaxy, humans waited. They waited with fear, but also with the strength that had always defined their species. Hope. Somewhere in the void, the first glimmers of alien ships appeared on Cryovast's horizon. Massive, sleek, and impossibly advanced, they reflected the auroras above. The humans had no idea what they were about to face, but the fact that they had survived this long, and that help had come, was enough to remind them of something simple, yet powerful. Humans never gave up. Elias looked out at the approaching fleet and whispered to himself, "Let them see what we can do." The colony held its breath. The galaxy was about to notice humanity, and the response that would come would shake stars, civilizations, and the future itself. The horizon of Cryovast was unlike anything humans had ever seen. Through the swirling snowstorms, massive alien ships appeared, cutting through the gray sky like silver needles. They were enormous, sleek, and impossibly precise, their surfaces glowing faintly with energy. The humans stared in awe, unable to look away. For years, they had imagined rescue fleets from the stars, but nothing like this. Commander Elias Grant stood at the edge of the outer wall, his breath misting in the icy air. Beside him, Lieutenant Mara Jensen gripped the rail, her jaw tight with tension. Are they going to attack?" she asked, voice trembling slightly. Elias shook his head. "I don't think so." "The signal," they responded. "But we need to stay cautious. Anything that moves like that is not human." The ships descended slowly, hovering over the colony. A series of beams shot down, forming protective shields around the perimeter. Immediately, the alien predators outside froze in place. They hissed and growled, sensing the invisible barriers that cut off their path. The humans watched in disbelief. Their defenses, which had barely held for weeks, were now bolstered by something far beyond their understanding. The shields pulsed with energy, shimmering in the cold wind. "Commander," Mara said, her eyes wide, "we're safe. For now." "Yes," Elias replied, but his mind raced. "Safe doesn't mean we understand what's coming next." A deep hum filled the air as a massive vessel descended further. Then a projection appeared, holographic, enormous, and impossibly detailed. The Zytherian envoy hovered above the colony, her form elegant and otherworldly. She had a humanoid shape but elongated limbs, translucent skin that shimmered faintly, and eyes that seemed to hold the knowledge of centuries. "Humans of Cryovast 9, the voice rang out, calm and melodic. "We are the Zytherians. We have received your plea. You are under our protection." The colony command room erupted in murmurs and exclamations. Soldiers, technicians, and civilians alike stared at the display, unsure how to react. "Protection?" Elias muttered. "You mean you're not here to test us?" The envoy's hologram shifted slightly as if considering the question. "We do not intervene lightly. Normally, species of your technological level would face extinction without interference, yet your species has displayed traits we rarely observe. Resilience, ingenuity, and courage. We wish to witness your capabilities firsthand. Mara blinked. Witness, you mean, like experiments? The envoy's eyes glowed faintly. Observation does not imply cruelty. We will provide guidance and technology to help you survive. Your enemies will be repelled. Your survival may benefit more than yourselves. It may change the course of history. Elias took a deep breath. So you're going to help us fight? Yes, the envoy said. But you must learn to use what we provide. Your species is capable of creativity, but you must apply it with precision. Adaptation will be the key to survival. For the first time in weeks, hope filled the colony, yet it was mixed with apprehension. The humans had survived alone for so long. Now they faced beings far beyond their comprehension, offering aid and the responsibility to learn quickly. The Zitherians began their work immediately. Pods containing advanced energy weapons, shields, and surveillance drones descended from the ships. Human engineers and soldiers were instructed in their use. The technology was complex, far beyond anything humans had designed. But the Zitherians did not simply give orders, they taught. You must understand the principles behind the devices, the envoy explained. Replication without comprehension will fail. Adaptation is key. Elias watched as his engineers experimented with the new tools. Some struggled, fumbling with controls. Others, especially the younger technicians, adapted almost instinctively, finding ways to improve or modify the alien designs for human use. Look at this, one technician said, pointing to a device that amplified the colony's sensor range. I think if we adjust the energy matrix here, we can detect predators before they even reach the outer perimeter. The Zytherian envoy observed silently. Interesting, she murmured. Your species' capacity for adaptation is remarkable. It wasn't just the technology that impressed the aliens. The humans' mindset was different, unpredictable, and inventive. Where the Zytherians approached problems with cold logic, humans experimented, improvised, and often discovered solutions the aliens had never imagined. Days passed, and the first direct test of this new alliance arrived. The alien predators, sensing the human defenses strengthened, launched an attack unlike any before. They coordinated in packs, testing the limits of the newly deployed shields, but the humans were ready. Soldiers deployed advanced weaponry, and engineers monitored energy flows, adjusting shields in real time. Even civilians took part, using improvised devices to warn and protect key areas. The Zytherians observed in silent fascination. Humans did not merely follow instructions, they adapted, combining alien technology with their own ingenuity. When one shield node began to fail under pressure, a human engineer rerouted energy from another system, stabilizing the barrier almost immediately. The Zytherians had never seen such on-the-spot problem-solving. Remarkable, the envoy said to herself. They do not panic. They do not surrender. They invent, they survive. By the end of the day, the predators had retreated. Casualties were minimal thanks to the alien shields, but the humans' contribution was undeniable. Soldiers, engineers, and even civilians had worked together in ways that highlighted their resilience and courage. Elias surveyed the scene, exhausted but proud. We did it, he said quietly to Mara, not just because of them, but because of us. They gave us tools, yes, but we made them work. Mara nodded. It feels strange to have help, but also to be expected to rise to the occasion. Exactly, Elias replied. They didn't just save us. They challenged us to survive on our terms, and we did. That night the colony celebrated quietly. Fires burned in the mess halls and families huddled together. For the first time in weeks, the cold wind seemed less menacing. Somewhere in the distance, the auroras of Cryovast shimmered brighter, reflecting the glimmers of hope within every human heart. But the Zytherians were not finished. In their own ships, they began communicating with each other in tones and frequencies humans could not hear. They discussed strategies, potential, and possibilities. One officer, older and more cautious than the others, expressed concern. "Commander," she said, addressing the holographic envoy, "this species, they are fragile. What if their resilience is not enough?" The envoy tilted her head. "Fragility is always present, but resilience is rare. They do not merely react, they adapt. That is something we have never seen in such a young species. Their potential is enormous." Back on Cryovast, Elias returned to his quarters. staring out at the alien ships hovering silently above the colony. "They think we are fragile," he muttered to himself. "They don't know us at all." He thought of the patrols, the engineers, the children huddled in the cold, and the soldiers who had faced death without flinching. He thought of how humans survived centuries of hardship on Earth and decades of isolation on Cryovast. He realized then what the Zetherians had seen. Humans were not strong because of technology, numbers, or armor. They were strong because of courage, creativity, and an unyielding will to survive. "Tomorrow," he whispered, "we show them what we can really do." Outside, the alien fleet remained silent guardians against the predators, yet something had changed. The Zetherians had seen humanity's spark, the unpredictable, fearless, creative spark that no algorithm, weapon, or shield could replicate. They had come to observe, but what they saw would leave a mark not just on Cryovast, but on the galaxy itself. And for the humans, the lesson was simple. Help had arrived. Yes, but it would not do the fighting for them. They would have to rise, adapt, and prove that even in a universe that underestimated them at every turn, humans could survive and maybe even thrive against impossible odds. In the shadows beyond the shields, the predators regrouped. They had faced resistance unlike any before, and their hunger was not diminished. They would return, stronger and more cunning, but the humans of Cryovast 9 were no longer alone. And that made all the difference. The stars above seemed to shimmer a little brighter that night, as if the galaxy itself had noticed a small, resilient species daring to stand tall against the void.